This is Tony Alva. We're not in Santa Monica, we're in Malibu. And this is my buddy John's bowl that he built in his backyard up here near Trancas Point, which is like a pretty well-known surf spot, so now we got a place to skate as well. First runs are always a little tricky. How often? I've been surfing more than I skate lately, but I usually skate a couple days a week. It depends if we're on the road. A lot of times when I'm out on the road, especially with like the bus tour, or if we're in Europe or Australia or someplace, I skate every day. But usually when I'm at home, I'm surfing just about every day, and I skate on the better days, probably at least 2 or 3 days a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. Well, a lot of the pools that we skate nowadays are like permission pools. We don't trespass as much as we used to. There's a lot of pools, I mean, that, you know, some of the best pools that I've ever skated are really not built for skateboarding, which is pretty cool. So I think how it's changed more than anything is that we get to skate a lot of pools that were just made for skating, and that's the deal with John's pool and stuff too. You know, a lot of guys are designing their own pools in their backyards, and then also there's pools in skate parks too, which are really fun to skate. But the ultimate thrill really is to go into somebody's backyard and actually skate a pool that's not really made for skateboarding. So I'd say that's how it's changed most. With riding, definitely has gotten better. But then back in the day, riding little boards with no pads and no gear, you know, for protection, it was pretty hardcore back then too. So I kind of miss the old days, but I sure like riding all the good pools that we have nowadays.
Hi, my name is Bucky Lassick. We're in Encinitas, California, and this is my backyard bowl. The bowl is about 80 feet by 75 feet, and it's 13 and a half feet deep. 11 and a half transition with 2 feet of vert, the biggest part, and then the round is 10-8 tranny with 2 feet of vert, and the shallow is 8-foot tranny, no vert. You could probably fit 6 to 7 of the Dogtown bowls in this one bowl. What made me go this big was the fact that I like skating vert and I like skating bowls. And everything out there is kind of small, so I would always find myself really hurting after a good bowl session, because when you fall, you go straight to flat, where you could pretty much skate vert every day and really not really get tired. So I figured what better thing to have than a big vert tranny sized bowl.
So I heard he built like a really big bowl. I think maybe for Bucky and those guys, that's pretty good. Building pools that big, I don't know if it's necessary, but you know, if it's his property, it's his money, if that's what he wants to skate, more power to him. I say that's a pretty big pool though. Like, I think it's like 14 feet deep, so that's the biggest like backyard pool that I've heard of being built specifically for skateboarding. So, you know, I like stuff that's a little bit more like a real backyard pool, right between the 8 to 10 foot range, kind of steep transitions. Those big transitions like that are really hard to pump for some of us that are like real pool skaters. But I know that some of those guys that actually skate in competition are really good at riding those big transitions. So like I said, I mean, if that's what they want to skate, build it and ride it.
I see pool skating has changed dramatically from the boards that people have ridden to the actual bowl themselves and the style of skating. Back then it was, you know, a lot of carving around and just finding your way around the bowl and grinds and everything like that, and it was probably more adventurous, even just finding pools to ride, you know. Nowadays skate parks are everywhere and bowls are they're a lot bigger.
The skate park thing's coming back strong, and it gives an opportunity for kids to be able to skate like really good concrete parks that have good transitions. Like I said before, they're starting to make some really good pools in the skate parks. And you know, the half pipe thing, it's kind of died out a little bit, but I don't think vert skating's ever gonna die. But I think it's come to a point now where it's a little bit more versatile. And I think a lot of people are getting an opportunity to skate some really good concrete parks and stuff nowadays. So, you know, to me, as far as being a skateboarder, I think it's really important to be able to skate everything. And I'm not saying that everybody has to be able to do handrails and stuff, and I'm not saying that everybody has to be able to do like, you know, 5-6 foot airs out of like a vert ramp or whatever, but at least get out there and try, and at least like, you know, have an open mind when it comes to skateboarding, and all-terrain skaters are my favorite skaters.
Well, I mean, the first legend that comes to my mind when I think of pool skating is Tony Alva. He's pretty much the guru of pool skating.
Well, when we first started doing airs in pools, it was because we were just trying to do the same stuff that we do when we're surfing, and we were just hitting the lip as hard as we could. I remember the first time I did an aerial was basically by accident. I just kind of like popped out of the pool, and I was doing it tuck knee. So I just kind of brought my knees in close to my body, and as I came back down past the lip, I just kind of let go of the board and pushed it back out and landed it. And I guess from there, you know, it's similar to surfing, you know, everything just kind of evolved to the point where everybody that was like a really radical surfer or skateboarder had to include aerials in their repertoire. So the fact that I was one of the first guys to do it was kind of cool, because what it did for me was that it gave me a little bit of a head start on everybody. And also it kind of became a signature move as far as like my skateboarding goes. The front side tuck knee is pretty much like what I'm known for as far as like old school skateboarding goes. Well, modern day pool skating, there's a lot of really good pool skaters, no doubt. I think more than anything, it's just the one guy that's just killing it from day one and still skating like really good is Steve Alba. Probably another guy that's like still like ripping pretty hard, like Dave Duncan, still out there skating. Some of the big old school guys, Chris Miller comes to mind. Rune, if you watch Rune skate a pool, it's pretty amazing. But then some of the young guns, some of the guys like, you know, Tony Trujillo or Jimmy the Greek. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I could go on forever talking about all the guys that are just ripping pools.
I mean, when I think of